Hello, everyone. This is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and I want to talk about Sesame Street this episode. And of course, full disclosure, I'm not an avid watcher of Sesame Street. I mean, obviously, I'm a little above the age range for Sesame Street, and so far, my niece and nephews have not shown a lot of interest in Sesame Street. I hope they do someday, because when I do catch it a little bit on TV, I'll watch little bits and pieces of it, and I am still pretty impressed with how clever it really is, even for adults. But it is written for a very, very young audience. It's not something I'm going to religiously watch. But there was an episode called Meet Julia that they had made, and I had a particular interest in seeing this episode because Sesame Street was introducing their first character with autism. And as someone who is autistic myself, I wanted to see how it would be portrayed. Not because I wanted to nitpick it. If they got it wrong, oh well, you know what? Not a lot of people understand. It's a reality. I'm not offended by that. But I did want to see how would kids be introduced to someone with autism. And I know some people might point out, well, you have Asperger's. That's not autism. Yes, it is autism. It might be a higher functioning autism, but we have many of the exact same problems, many of the exact same symptoms. The only difference really is that I can articulate those problems a little bit better than most. And that's probably a blessing on my part, because I don't know where I'd be if I couldn't properly explain these little things. Maybe I would have to rely on Sesame Street to do it, but anyway, Julia is a new character who has autism. She's yellow, has red hair, and green eyes. And watching the episode was very interesting. It was because I'm watching it and I was almost moved by how right they got it. They really did their homework. I mean, the Sesame Workshop is not perfect. They one time made an episode that dealt with the issue of divorce, and apparently the results were not very good. And they even shelved the episode, never aired it. They just ate the cost because it's like, you know what? We tried, we messed up. We're not going to do this. And they probably did similar tests with this, and the kids understood it, and I'm glad they did, and there's no reason they shouldn't have understood it. Like when you first see Julia, the little details, like she's painting with Elmo and a third pink character whose name I can't remember, and Big Bird walks up and says hi to everyone, and everyone says hi except Julia. Julia is still focused on the painting. And Big Bird asks like, hi Julia, I'm Big Bird, and she doesn't respond. And the human character, and I don't know who his name is, I guess he's a new cast member, he was like, she's just really focused on her painting right now, which is true. As someone with autism himself, I saw that and I recognized she's not ignoring Big Bird. She's just focused on what she's doing right now. And I thought that was a very impressive distinction to make. Also, when they were painting, everyone was doing finger painting, but she wasn't. She was painting with a brush because she doesn't like the way finger paints feel, which it's kind of funny because I remember years ago going to my friend Zach's house and we were finger painting, and I just remember hating it. I hated the feel of the paint, and I just did not like it. Didn't like it whatsoever. It was horrible. Now, some people might be saying, okay, well, so she doesn't respond to hello, and she doesn't like finger painting. Like, are you really that similar? And the answer is yes. I mean, just the little ways how, like, when she talks, she's not always looking directly at people. Like how I'm looking directly at you right now, which I have trained myself to do, mainly because, and it helps that admittingly there's a little light on the camera that is very enticing to watch, more so than the mirror reflection that's over there that you can't see. This is more enticing, but that helps me look straight at the camera. Julia, but otherwise, when I'm in real life, sometimes eye contact is difficult. I've actually been going to some friend's house I went there Friday and Sunday, and I'm talking to them, and I'm getting to know them, and they had to tell me that I wasn't looking at them when I was talking to them. I was like, in fact, I almost seemed to be looking the opposite direction of whoever I was talking to. So it's because I'm still getting to know them. I'm still getting to know them. Eye contact isn't easy. For that matter, Julia, when she's excited or something, she like flaps her arms, like yay, and she does things in her own way. I don't flap my arms. For the record, I don't flap my arms. But my hands twitch. And sometimes they twitch a lot. And people ask, well, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. It's just a neurological thing. Comes with the autism. That's all it is. And that was a nice little touch. A very nice touch, I thought, was when the sirens, like there was like fire sirens that were blaring in the episode, and she's covering her ears, and it's like she has to walk away. She has to go to a safe spot. Now, of course, I'm an adult. I'm not going to safe spots anymore, obviously, but that's like been one of like the most difficult things to explain when things get loud. And they're not loud to anyone else. They're just loud to me. And it can be painful. In fact, as much as I love going to IMAX movies, I bring earplugs. I bring earplugs to a lot of movies because sometimes I need the cushion. It might not be that loud for most audience members, and they might even love it. I don't. It's painful. And there's a nice little scene in the episode. Before I get onto that, and Big Bird says, the siren wasn't that loud, and Elmo's like, well, it wasn't loud to us, but it's loud to Julia. And I love it when later on Julia brings a flower to Big Bird, like she's looking at Big Bird like, oh, Big Bird, and it's, it shows that, yeah, she does like Big Bird. She noticed him. It didn't seem like she noticed him. It didn't seem like she was even that nice to him. But she did notice. It's taking a while to process and the acknowledgement to come. I thought it was a very brilliant, very sensitive portrayal of someone with autism. Although people, again, Asperger's, it's the same thing. And it shows the commitment that Sesame Workshop has to getting things like this right. And they nailed it. Now, I don't know how often we're going to see the character. Also, I don't know how often they're going to have to repeat the fact that she has autism. I think they're going to have to do that quite frequently. Otherwise, she's just going to come off as looking strange. And I hope the character is around for a long time. I can see how that would be annoying, because every time you bring the character and you have to explain what autism is pretty much every single time, I can tell that's going to frustrate someone over there. But you know what? Sesame Workshop, they are very patient people. They are very patient people. They want to do it right. They don't want to give kids the wrong impression. And this is probably the best representation of someone with autism that I've seen on TV, a major show, since Sheldon Cooper in The Big Bang Theory. Now, I know some of you are going to laugh because Sheldon Cooper is played off as kind of annoying sometimes, but we have to be honest. People with autism are annoying. They can be. I'm not going to lie. People find me annoying sometimes. But you know what? They got his mannerisms right, and they understood how his mindset worked. And even though that was an adult, they got it right. Now, the difference is, a lot of the humor from The Big Bang Theory comes from the fact that I don't think he ever really addressed his autism. They've never even confirmed in the show if he has autism, although Jim Parsons, the actor, has pretty much said that he modeled his behavior after people with Asperger's syndrome. But the fact that no one acknowledges that's what he has or tries to understand it adds to a conflict in that show. And this is why he's consistently annoying. They don't understand. Why don't you just get it? Like, we're just going to go from this screen to this one in the movie. Why is that so important to you? And it is. It is. Like, I don't know why it is. Like, if someone's like 5 minutes late, I get very, very offended. There is a bug there, and I might have to smack it. missed. And I'm not cutting that. What's nice about a portrayal like Julia on Sesame Street is that at a very young age, kids are learning what it is, that she's a little different, but you know what? We're all a little different in our own ways. She's just medically different, and she just has a different way of doing things and reacting to things. And if you take a few minutes to understand, it's really not that bad, and it's not even that strange in the long run. So I give a lot of credit to Sesame Workshop. This could not have been easy. They must have had to have put hours upon hours of research into this. Not only designing the character, but just getting the traits and the mannerisms down so that kids would understand it. And I'm not a kid anymore, but you know what? I think most kids will get it. I think most kids will get it. They'll understand, and they'll have learned something. And since this is something that is affecting apparently 1 out of every 9 people, I hear, it's a good thing to kind of get started on. Because if there is a concern that I have with characters like Sheldon Cooper, it's that while the character is funny and it's a good character, and I'm not offended by that character, most people, I don't think, understand what he has. And they laugh at it, not realizing that this is a condition he has. It's not a personality trait. With Sesame Street, maybe in 10 years, if The Big Bang Theory is still on TV and kids start watching it themselves, they might watch The Big Bang Theory and know right away that he does have autism. That he doesn't mean to be a jerk. That he doesn't mean to be rude. It's just the way he is. And they'll still laugh. They'll still laugh. I hope they still laugh. I don't mind laughing. People with Asperger's and autism, we have funny traits. We do. We think very differently. We think very uniquely. And I think we should be able to poke fun at that. Because, I mean, if I can poke fun at the Smurfs for being boring, I think people could poke fun at me because I talk strange. And I'm not offended by it. I'm not. But hopefully when that joking comes, we understand that we're laughing with each other. We're not laughing at other people. That, hey, you know what? We acknowledge I talk strange. It's really, really confusing sometimes. Oh, yeah, have sensitive hearing. So, yeah, Tim, you know how you say you think you're being quiet? You're really not. You're not. So, but getting back to Sesame Street, thank you, Sesame Workshop, for addressing this issue, and thank you for doing it so well. I don't know if you could have actually outright offended me, because, again, I've come to terms with my condition, I've come to terms with my, I guess this is technically a disability, and I've come to terms with the oddness that comes with it. But it still warms my heart, and, you know, I even teared up a little when I watched this. I really did. Because it was nice to be understood, and you know what? When I was younger and I was watching Sesame Street and felt different from everyone, I did connect with the Muppets and Sesame Street, particularly because they were different. They were monsters and birds, and they didn't look like humans. And I kind of related to that. And now there's a character that not only looks different, but acts differently, and acts differently in a way that I at least can relate to. And I hope that, you know, my niece and nephews, I don't know if they have autism, but hopefully they'll be able to relate to it. And the chances are my brother's gonna, when he has a kid, I have a feeling that just as a little bit of irony, he's gonna have a kid with Asperger's. And hopefully that kid will be able to watch Sesame Street and watch Julia and be like, yeah, that's what I feel like. That's how I act, and I see someone else acting that way, and I'm not strange. I am strange, but I'm no different. I'm just different. I'm different in my own unique way, but so is everyone else, and I like that. So, I don't know if I articulated this as well as I'd hoped. I didn't write this down, and sometimes that's like a weakness for people with autism. When we don't write it down, the words sometimes come out wrong, or they don't come out as smooth. But I do want to say, from bottom of my heart, congratulations. You guys nailed it. You really did. And I, I'm not going to become a regular viewer again. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still Sesame Street. It's made for 3-year-olds. I'm 31. But I hope to see the character again. And I hope to see where you take her. Because it's kind of exciting to think about. It really is. Anyway, what about all you viewers out there? Did you see the new Sesame Street with Julia, the girl with autism? What did you think? Do any of you have autism? Did you relate to the character? I would love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.